I actually, in 2014, broke the industry record for sales in a month. I did 112 applications that had never been done before and broke over, again, small contract, but broke over $40,000 in production. They thought I was doing something wrong. It's like breaking the sound barrier. So they're like, there must be something. Check this guy's business. Persistency was over 80%. It was fine. But then I was challenged to do it a second straight month, and they gave me a challenge of $10,000. So I ended up winning that. The next month I did 41,000, and it did a total of 85,000 in 2 months. Pretty 223 applications, something like that. It was a crazy number.
Jeez, dude.
That set me off, and I got incorporated that year, 2013, and started this, new journey of building a business instead of being an individual producer. And that's when I really started learning about how much money can be made in this industry.
Hey, welcome back to the CA Power Players Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins. Today, we got a guest all the way from Miami, Florida, that is building some wealth in this industry and is about to help you do the exact same thing. Please welcome Bernard Borges.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate having me on, man. Looking forward to it.
Dude, I love your energy, your passion, your enthusiasm. You're making some money. You're helping other people make some money. Has Bernard always had wealth?
Absolutely not. Not at all. Always dreamed about it, though.
Yes.
And, you have to have that in your mind before it can, manifest into something. So, yes. But
Amen.
No, never had it. Wasn't born into it for sure, no.
At what age did you start dreaming about wealth?
That's a great question. Probably early teens. Teens. I liked, I'm kind of old, so I've seen things like Richie Rich and some of these other cartoons where wealth was obviously depicted. And so I said, I got to have that. That looks like something I need.
100%. Yep. I remember too that you mentioned that, man. I remember being, like 10, 11, 12, starting to think about doing something big. I remember 15 selling stuff on eBay, selling all my sister's crap, all that kind of stuff,
Yard sales for me. I mean, all kind of stuff.
Dude,
always been a hustler.
Exactly, bro. Right. Every day I'm hustling. That's right.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah. So have you always lived in Miami?
Oh, heck no. I'm from New Jersey. I'm a transplant. I've only been here about 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
And I grew up in Trenton, New Jersey, right in the middle of the capital and city. And so I had a lot of influence with New York and Philadelphia. I literally lived like in the middle of both. So it's been pretty interesting growing up.
Did New York, is that what gave you the Empire State of Mind?
I believe so. I definitely have a New York state of mind, Empire State of Mind.
Yeah,
for sure.
What's Trenton, New Jersey? What's Trenton, New Jersey like?
Small town. I think it's about 5 square miles. 2 hotels. But they have this little brother mentality, meaning that they want to be like a Philly, like a New York, and they act that way, and they are very, so they think anyway, contemporary. They don't want to be looked at as a country bumpkin town or anything like that. And I wouldn't say we are, but we definitely are very Trenton-ish, meaning we everything stays in-house. Like we don't really want anything in, and we certainly don't want to let anything out.
Yes. And what was your life like growing up, man? Talk to me.
Oh man, well, I mean, it was good. I had a 2-parent household. My mother and father did divorce when I was about 10, and then my stepfather kind of jumped in, so I kind of had a male figure in my life all the time. Those two were total opposites. I had a father that was very flexible and easygoing, and then I had a very strict military-like stepfather. So I kind of got, the opposite ends of the spectrum. But it was cool because it developed me in all kind of ways positively. So again, having that male figure in the house was definitely, for me, beneficial. A lot of people in my area did not have that opportunity. Yeah. So it was definitely beneficial for me. And I mean, we were very, we went to church, we had, principles, we were very, disciplined, we had chores. So I felt like I got a lot of life lessons at home, which we're supposed to anyway. And so it's been, all those things are now has allowed me to enjoy a lot of success because I feel like I've been come from good stock, if you will. And that's not just my parents, but also my family too.
Yeah, dude, I can totally relate to that, man. There's so many people that are not fortunate.
No.
And there's a lot of like communities around the country where it's just like normal to not have a father figure in your life, which sucks.
Mine too, actually.
Yeah.
I was, so.
Yeah, it's cool.
And that's part of my mission is to give young, especially males, that father figure, but even females too, that a lot of them aren't fortunate enough to have, because it really makes a difference. And I want to capture them at a kind of an adolescent age. It's kind of tough when they're already, developed, but when they're in those formative years, I don't know, between like 7 and 12, something like that, I want to capture people and give them a bigger outlook and a bigger mentality to know that they can do great things. Like you just mentioned with, asking me about when I think I could be rich. That's not normal for you either. That's not normal for us to have thought those type of thoughts, but it's because we were in a house that obviously allowed us to have those kind of thoughts and believe that we could do those things. And I certainly wasn't discouraged when I was saying those things around the house. My mother or father weren't saying, "Oh, no, you can't. There's no way. You better just go get a job," kind of thing. They didn't allow me to not have those kind of dreams and imagination.
That's cool. So they were positive about you achieving and doing. Dude, that's sick, man.
My sister's a doctor and a high-level doctor for United Healthcare. Same thing. She's older than me. Same thing. No, and she's a female, right? But no, never any doubt of what she wanted to achieve. So again, it's a family thing. I'm fortunate.
Yeah. Okay, so let's fast forward. So you're in teenage years. You're going to high school, college.
Yes, went to local college, College of New Jersey.
Okay, cool. And then what were you working during that point? When did the career start to take off? What's all that look like?
College. I graduated and went right into corporate America and was in a managerial position pretty much right out of college, early 20s. That was interesting, managing 40-year-olds. But again, it brought character. I had to learn how to understand people and how to manage men. This was a automotive shop. So first I was in sales, and then I got into management, and it was an automotive shop. So I was running for Sears, for the old company Sears Automotive. And it was hustle and bustle. A lot of people coming through there, a lot of activity, and you got to move fast. And fortunately, that's my nature. So it worked for me. I ended up kind of outperforming the other manager. And so that created some strife. And that's what I'm about politics and corporate America. And I said, Cody, I don't like it. And I got pretty quickly. I was in there maybe about 4 years, 5 years, and I got the heck out of there. And it wasn't because of finding something new. It was because I just knew that wasn't for me. I wouldn't sit here and try to fight with 50-year-olds that are intimidated by the fact that I do the job and know the job better than they do. Because I'm a researcher, and I actually, dive in. I don't just do surface. I dive into whatever I'm into, and that intimidated them. So I got out of that, and there was an ad that said, basically, if you're able to talk to people and you like helping people, come to this interview. Didn't know what it was, and that's how I was introduced to the insurance industry 20 years ago.
Dude, that's awesome, man. And I do like that you mentioned, like, dude, when I find something, I dive deep, man. A lot of people don't. You also mentioned like I move fast, and
yes,
it's cool that you stood out at 20 versus 50-year-olds, which speaks to that level. When you got into insurance, what was the first like day, week, month, year? What's that look like?
Actually pretty straightforward. I didn't find it to be overwhelming. I didn't find it to be crazy. I just found it to be straightforward. It just basically you go and talk. Well, at that time you go out in the field and just talk to people. I followed the trainer that I had, and I watched him do it. And again, my competitive spirit was such that I'm like, this dude's not even good. He's a manager. Like that's the first thing I thought of the first couple of days that I was there. Like, this guy's not even that good. Cause remember, I was in sales already. So it wasn't like I hadn't been in sales. I'm like, his techniques are terrible. He's still doing well. He's the manager. He has a team of agents, and I was one of them. And so it actually did the opposite. I think what he wanted. He was trying to show me the business, but what he gave me was confidence to say, okay, well, this guy can do it. I'll just need to figure out a little bit of how to do this, and I'll be outstanding. I ended up being a rookie of the year.
Let's go, man. And what were you focused on selling back then as rookie of the year?
Final expense, only final expense, which is basically like whole life policies to take care of burial.
Yes. And how much money did you make your first year, rookie of the year?
A whopping $40,000.
And one rookie of the year.
And one rookie of the year. Well, I mean, you said how much did I make? I sold probably over 100,000, but my 35%.
Wow, I can relate to that, man. We have a similar story. Yeah. That's crazy, dude. Okay, so then, well, let's look at that. Like, you sold a lot, you have some success. Why were you able to jump into a old industry and just find success?
All right. Well, I don't want to make it sound like a training class here or something, but really it comes down to mindset, Cody. 80% of anything that you do is mental. And so having confidence walking in the door, having a high competitive drive, always wanting to be number one. And also, again, having the passion to not just embrace the endeavor on the surface, but to dive deep into it. And part of my doing that is because in college, I had a marketing degree and I studied international marketing. I studied, finance, and I also studied psychology and human behavior. And so I said, if I'm going to be working with people, I want to think on a level that's even higher than how they think. I want to think better than they think about themselves and understand them better than they understand themselves. And I truly did that. And at that point I had done it for 7 or 8 years, prior. And so I had an advantage coming in over 99% of the other, agents that had just gotten licensed like myself. So that's what really set me apart. Plus energy, all that stuff. They were that back then.
Yeah. What drew you to marketing? Why were you attracted to marketing?
Oh, my mother had a marketing firm. I grew up in it. Literally, like did the internship, was 5 years old in her office, playing around in her office, did internship, went back to work with her after college to learn the ropes a little bit from, her perspective as a CEO. And we took down a lot of accounts. I helped her open up a lot of statewide accounts and things of that nature. So it really, resonated. And the reason why I went to corporate America was because she said it would be good for you to go to corporate America and get insight there. And then at some point, you'll have more to bring back to the company than, me, working only with her and only getting her perspective. And I thought that was wise of her to have me do that. It really panned out for me to do that.
Dude, that is wise, man. That's awesome. And that's such a big piece. Like people fail in our industry because they don't get in front of people, and like you had a marketing background, you understood prospecting, getting in front of people, and you figured it out. Okay. So fast forward. So rookie of the year to now 20-year vet building wealth. What's changed along the way? Walk us through that journey.
Man, so much. Well, full transparency, I had a wandering eye when I was younger. And so I ended up doing, final expense. And then I was told that I should look at selling graves and mausoleums. So for 1 year, I did that. I never dropped my, I just kind of put it on hold because, again, they offered more money. I didn't know there was more money to be made in the insurance business at that time. I'm on this 35% contract. So I did that for 1 year. And then also, when I started making more money in the industry, I was doing mortgage protection. And my guy who I was partnered with was making so much money on the mortgages and offered me an opportunity to do that with him. He said, hey, man, I almost feel bad you're giving me all these deals. You're making $1,000 or $800 on your deals. And I'm making $4,000. This was prior to 2008. So this was when it was. And so he offered me an opportunity to work on that side of the business too. Opened up a satellite office and started doing mortgages and hired a processor and all that kind of stuff, loan officers. And so again, serial entrepreneur. So I got into that, did really well. Then 2008 crashed. I was still doing insurance. So thankfully I had that to still go with, but then even that dried up. And so I got into recruiting. I became a recruiting manager for a couple of years. And that was the best thing that could have happened to me. And that's what really made me the savvy old vet that I am now, so to speak, because my first real mentor outside of my fathers and parents is having, his name was Steve, having him as a serial entrepreneur who was self-made millionaire, twice over because he lost it all, got it back again. And he taught me the principles of running a business and how to use human capital to benefit them and obviously benefit the business. And Cody, I spent half the time at that job in his office, sitting in front of him, strategizing like this, as opposed to being on the floor, hiring people and placing them in positions like my job was supposed to do. He said, I asked him, I said, why are you giving me so much time, off the floor? I said, these guys are jealous and this and that. He's like, I don't care. He said, because you're a superstar. And he said, I see greatness in you doing this type of work. And he said, I just, know I need to put my, kind of claws in you kind of thing. And ironically, I ended up doing all this, but in a different industry. And actually, when I left him, I said to him, I'm going to go look at this insurance industry because I have 3 young kids. This money is not enough. He was paying me like a little salary plus commission, but it just wasn't enough. And I felt like I was, starving. And he saw it too. And he said, well, I checked for the insurance industry for you. This was in 2012. And he said, I don't see a lot of millionaires in that business. He said, so that's why I think you should, still stay with recruiting. I said, well, Steve, just remember this. I don't care what you checked or what you saw. You're sending me to the insurance business. You're sending me with your SOP, his standard operating procedure, bylaws that I studied in full length. And I said, so I'm the first person to hit the insurance industry with your training. And it stopped him in his tracks. He said, you know what, son, go do your thing. He said, I know you'll be great.
Let's go.
And a year later, I made over 6 figures, which was the first time I ever done that. I got him this big trophy that said the greatness of a man is not measured by how much success he has in oneself, but the success he puts in others. And this guy's a big German guy, tough as nails. I got him to cry.
Let's go, man.
And that really set me off into the insurance industry as a vet, 10 years into at that point. And then that's when I really started breaking records and all that kind of stuff. Oops, I kind of got ahead of myself. Sorry.
No, that's okay, man, dude. Jump in there because I know you're you're doing much bigger stuff now, and that's such a cool journey. Great story. I appreciate you sharing that. That's awesome.
Well, what I'm talking about breaking records, that's still doing final expense. That's not even well building yet. That's still doing. I actually, in 2014, broke the industry record for sales in a month. I did 112 applications that had never been done before and broke over, again, small contract, but broke over $40,000 in production. They thought I was doing something wrong. It's like breaking the sound barrier. So they're like, there must be something. Check this guy's business. Persistency was over 80%. It was fine. But then I was challenged to do it a second straight month, and they gave me a challenge of $10,000. So I ended up winning that. The next month I did 41,000 and it did a total of 85,000 in 2 months. Pretty 223 applications, something like that. It was a crazy number.
Jeez, dude.
That set me off, and I got incorporated that year, 2013, and started this, new journey of building a business instead of being an individual producer. And that's when I really started learning about how much money can be made in this industry. And so that's what ended up leading me to where I am now. And that ended up, I got an opportunity to go to Miami from New Jersey. And that was a big deal. And I had to make that, transition. That was very difficult, leaving 75 agents in New Jersey and coming down to a new venture. It's kind of like traded in a sports team that you've been in all your life and kind of made your career and, formed who you were. And I had to leave all that behind. And, only one agent followed me down. Only one. And so I was able to get here in Miami, get settled. And then I ended up leaving that practice company to begin with altogether. And so that's when I left there, it was because I knew that I had outgrown my time there. Even moving regions, that's why I switched regions. It was a bigger region. Instead of having 5 states, I would have 20 states to run. But it still wasn't big enough. And it wasn't because of the states. It was because of the product. It was just final expense.
Yes.
Learned about wealth building while I was still doing final expense, but realized that I couldn't do it there. And that's when I made the transition to work in the current platform that I'm on now and become a broker. Instead of being an independent agent, strictly doing one type of product, I now have a plethora of products, whether it's, final expense, mortgage protection, or now wealth building services, retirement, and being a financial coach. And so I began to develop that over the last 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah. And what do you think's been the key to building that out? Right. Also, I didn't mention the professor that they call you, man,
Oh,
Bernard, the Professor Borges.
that's more recent. Now, I haven't always been. I mean, I guess I was always a professor, just never called myself that. But what brought that about, I think, was again that deep dive into what they call advanced marketing in our industry, and in particular IULs, annuities, and higher level products and services that really protect people's money and allow them to build wealth with at the same time. Even with the money that they already have, Cody, they don't have to add more. They just simply are reallocating their money. And so just studying with, again, another mentor, Brian, who gave me major insight. He's the one that actually sat me down and said, hey, man, I know you're doing great in final expense. You're selling thousands of policies, but do you know you're actually, a lot of the folks who are healthy, you're actually hurting them. You're not helping them. And, that blew me away. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And he said, well, when you're giving when they're paying those premiums, those insurance companies are taking that money and they're putting it and they're investing it into a private entity that your clients have no availability to. And essentially, they're making untold fortunes off of those premiums, and they don't even return the premiums. They don't give them anything back. And they have cash value, and that's it. And I said, well, how much money are we talking about here? And when he showed me the numbers and he showed me it was, hundreds of thousands of dollars off a $100 premium, the average is like 288,000 over a 30-year period. And meanwhile, the person's getting a $20,000 face amount when they die. That's it. No wonder these insurance companies have the biggest buildings and arenas named after them and all that stuff. So that really, and so I did a deep dive. I did a deep dive and study into his SOP and really became a student of that game, and
yes,
this history now.
Dude, I love it. So freaking good, bro. Goodness gracious.
Yes, sir.
Let's go, man. You're getting me excited. This is I like talking like building wealth, and we start talking about like doing big stuff. How are you?
Business, bro. I got out of the death policy business. Now I'm into actual life insurance. Life insurance is living and doing something while you're alive, not when you're dead.
Let's go. Instead of selling death, he's selling life, man. He's speaking life.
Life.
He's speaking life in agents too,
Yeah.
What's that look like? I know you help a ton of agents all over the country make a bunch of money. How does that piece work?
First, you got to, again, care for them. You got to, you have to be bigger than you. And I learned that years ago, that being in this industry, I had a gift that was about teaching, motivating, and leading. And the best leaders are the ones that lead from the front. Being able to be highly productive myself, I'm a credible leader. I'm not just somebody who's talking theory. I have an actual system and it works. And, I have trainers and I have infrastructure. So what it looks like is that we just want to help. Most agents in this industry, Cody, are struggling. They just are. They're struggling because of contract. They're struggling because of lack of support. They're struggling because of lack of structure. They're struggling because of lack of leads. And they're also struggling because, can I say, they need to be built up. We have a tear down society. And I don't want to get too esoteric here, but we have a tear down society.
Yes, we do.
My mantra and what makes me different is I'm a build up type of person. I build people up and I speak life into people, you're right, that really haven't had that spoken to them by a parent, by any type of, model or mentor. And they've never had this in their life, male and female. And so here's these type of things. I get these sidebar texts, Bernard, you have no idea, that information you gave today, the way you spoke, or that one-on-one meeting today was the first time in my life I felt like I can do this. Like getting that kind of feedback fuels you to want to do it more and on a higher scale. And why we're talking now is because I want to do it honestly on a national scale. And you're my conduit to get this message out.
Let's go, man. Let's get it out, man. If somebody's connected with this message today and they're like, dude, I like Bernard. I want to dive deep. I want to make some money. I want to help a bunch of people. I like the way he talks. He dresses nice, like he's a cool dude, man. He's got some swag. He's got a great personality.
Oh yeah. All that's there too.
That's right, man. What do they do? How do they reach out? How do they get in touch with you?
Oh, easy. The first thing that you can, either just call me directly is the fastest way, or text me 305-282-6150. I have an email, admin, ADMIN, at my last name, Borges, BORGES, AND spelled out, and associates. So Borges and Associates .biz though, not com, .biz. That's my email. Not the best way to get me, but you can that way. You get my admin really that way. And then also just social media. Borges Bernard on IG, my name backwards, Borges Bernard. And then on Facebook, Bernard Borges, as well as on LinkedIn. I don't use TikTok. I'm kind of outdated for that, I guess. But I do have an account. So my admin kind of handles that for me. But those are the best ways: IG, Facebook Messenger, one of those messengers, or just, like I said, contact me directly.
Bernard Borges, you're a beast, brother, and I appreciate you being on the podcast, man. Thank you so much.
And look forward to, again, working with anybody and everybody that's interested in uplifting their careers and their lives, period, and their lifestyle. Lives, lifestyle, and career. They all go hand in hand. So thank you for having me.
Hey, man. Thank you, Bernard, man. Thank you guys for listening to Power Player Podcast. Thank you for hanging out. Get in touch with Bernard. Go change your life. Do something special. And we'll see you on the next podcast. Adios.
Sure. Talk to you soon.
Hey, if you enjoyed this, I got another one you're going to love. It's right there. Click on it. See you in there.
I'm so excited for today's CA Power Player Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins. We got a special guest. He is back on the channel talking about how to sell life insurance from home. Here's what I love about this person. Okay, I'm telling you, this will be one of the best.